Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are doing the Gothtober Readathon TBR. I am so excited for Gothtober. I've actually never participated before. This is hosted by Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe and a bunch other booktubers who I will have all linked down below, as well as the announcement videos. So today what we're doing is we're going to play the Gothtober game. So they created this amazing little game to help you narrow down your prompts, because depending on the answers you choose for the game, you will get different prompts for the readathon, which is so creative and so fun. I'm obsessed with that. So we're gonna play the game today. So let's go. All right, so we have all the prompts now. So now I'm going to go through the books that I already had kind of wanted to read in October. So first, the prompt is to read a Gothic mood read book. So obviously this can be really anything as long as it's Gothic. So I'm going to pick Bunny by Mona Awad because first of all, I have to read it. It is a dark academia, so that counts as Gothic, and it kind of gives me Heathers vibes, which I really love, that musical and movie, so sounds perfect to me. And it's also going to count for the Buzzwordathon because the title has to have a creature or animal. So Bunny obviously fits. So that's going to work. So basically the main character goes to this school where there's this insular group of girls who all call themselves Bunny, which kind of freaks her out a little bit, but when she's invited into their fold, she discovers their secrets. And that's really all I know. I don't know too much else. I know this book is quite divisive. You either love it or you hate it. So we'll see which one I am. And now we have a book by a BIPOC author for which I'm hoping to pick The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. And this is pitched as Mexican Gothic, which I liked, meets Rebecca, which I still never read, in a debut supernatural suspense novel set in the aftermath of the Mexican War of Independence. So in the overthrow of the Mexican government, Beatrice's father is executed and her home destroyed. When a handsome man proposes, Beatrice ignores the rumors surrounding his first wife's sudden demise, choosing instead to seize the security his estate provides. She will have her own home again, no matter the cost. But the hacienda is not the sanctuary she imagined. Yeah, okay. Beatrice only knows two things for certain. Something is wrong with the hacienda and no one there will help her. Okay, yeah. So there's a little bit more to the synopsis, but I don't really want to spoil myself. It seems like it's going into that territory. So I feel like I might like this. It has kind of mixed reviews, but I've seen it being taken out from my library that I work at a bunch of times, and it sounds really good. It was a book of the month pick, so I'm gonna give it a try. And then for the next prompt, an LGBT book, we have A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, which is very popular here on Booktube. It is written from the point of view of Constanta, who is Dracula's first bride. And basically, she is saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger and is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. I just love that line. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanta realizes that her beloved is capable of terrible things. Finding comfort in the arms of her rival consorts, LGBT rep there. She begins to unravel their husband's dark secrets. With the lives of everyone she loves on the line, Constanta will have to choose between her own freedom and her love for her husband. But bonds forged in blood can only be broken by death. Yeah, it sounds really good. I totally understand why it gets so much hype, and I haven't read it yet because I have not read Dracula yet, which is the next book on this TBR. So for the book I forgot I had, or book I forgot I owned prompt, I'm going to read Dracula. Obviously everyone knows what Dracula is, Bram Stoker's classic vampire novel. Yeah, I really have no excuse. I actually don't tend to love vampires in general. However, I feel like I have to read the original Dracula. You know, I really have to. I am a classic Gothic literature fan, so I'm really hoping I like this. So I will be reading this before I read A Dowry of Blood, just so I can get all the context from the original story that I believe I would need to fully enjoy A Dowry of Blood. So keeping my fingers crossed that I like both of these. I'm very excited. And then for a beautiful book, there are a couple that I could choose, but I believe I'm going to choose My Best Friend's Exorcism because I just love the fact that this cover is like an 80s VHS tape. I love it. I think it's campy, but it's super fun and it's colorful, but also like that classic horror movie feel. I just love it. I think it's great. It's a great design choice, so I think this is going to fit. So this is by the very famous horror author Grady Hendrix. And it is about Abby and Gretchen, who have been best friends since 5th grade, when they bonded over a shared love of E.T., roller skating parties, and scratch and sniff stickers. Lots of nostalgia here. I'm also a big fan of Stranger Things, so I feel like this has definitely good vibes for me. But when the two arrive at high school, things change. Gretchen begins to act different. And as the strange coincidences and bizarre behaviors start to pile up, Abby realizes there's only one possible explanation. Gretchen has a demon living inside her, and Abby is not about to let anyone or anything come between her and her best friend. With help from some unlikely allies, Abby embarks on a quest to save Gretchen, but is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? This sounds so much fun. I gotta try this. And this will be my first Grady Hendrix, so I'm really hoping I like it so that I can read his other works as well. Okay, so the next prompt is an interesting one. It is to read a book that completes me. I guess it can be interpreted in any way, but I am choosing to interpret it as Nona the Ninth. Because of course I've read Gideon and Harrow, and Nona just came out, and I put my request in for the audiobook from my library the day it came out, and it was a 5-week wait, but it seems like it's speeding up a little bit. Maybe they bought another copy, who knows? So it seems like I'm going to be able to read it for October, and I'm so excited to finally meet Nona. I've heard great things about this book. Everyone loves it, and we left off at such a cliffhanger with that epilogue for Harrow, and Harrow was just a 5-star masterpiece. So I am so excited to read the third one. I mean, I think this definitely meets the definition of a book that will complete me. Okay, so now next we have a book with disability rep, which I have a hard time finding a horror book with disability rep that I know of. The only one I know of off the top of my head is Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant. And it actually wasn't on my TBR at first, but I've heard good things about it, and I think I'm going to add it now for this prompt. So it is about like an undersea horror, which is kind of different, and that's exciting. And I believe it has a neurodivergent character and perhaps a physically disabled character as well, according to some reviews I've read. But if you guys know of any other books, horror books or just dark books in general with disabled characters, definitely let me know, because I'm always looking for more recommendations. So this book is about the Atar Gottis, which is, I guess, a submarine that set off on a voyage to the Mariana Trench to film a mockumentary, bringing to life ancient sea creatures of a legend. It was lost at sea with all hands. Some have called it a hoax, others have called it a maritime tragedy. Now a new crew has been assembled, but this time they're not out to entertain. Some seek the truth, some seek the greatest hunt of all. But for the ambitious young scientist, Victoria Stewart, this is a voyage to uncover the fate of the sister she lost. So it seems like there are killer mermaids in this book, which is not something I would normally gravitate towards, but I do feel like I should read this because it has really good reviews. So let me know if you've read it and let me know what you think. Okay, next we have a murder mystery, which is pretty easy, and one that has been on my TBR for a very long time. It is The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. So at the age of 12, Eve was the only member of her family to survive an encounter with a serial attacker called the Nothing Man. Now an adult, she's obsessed with identifying the man who destroyed her life. So already off to a good start, we're following a final girl. Supermarket security guard Jim Doyle has just started reading The Nothing Man, the true crime memoir Eve has written about her efforts to track down her family's killer. As he turns each page, his rage grows, because Jim's not just interested in reading about the Nothing Man, he is the Nothing Man. Jim soon begins to discover how dangerously close Eve is getting to the truth. He knows she won't give up until she finds him. He has no choice but to stop her first. So yeah, I mean, I guess, does it count as a murder mystery because we already know who the murderer is from the synopsis? I think it counts because the main character doesn't know, so I'm counting it. Okay, yeah, I'm very excited about this. I am a big true crime fan, sounds wrong, but I think it's interesting, and I just think that this book is right up my alley, so I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, now the prompt, multiple survivors, is really difficult because how am I supposed to know if a book has multiple survivors if I haven't read the book? Like, I don't want spoilers. So I'm just kind of guessing here. I have two possibilities for this. First is the Mary Shelley Club, which I definitely want to read this month regardless of whether it fits the prompt or not. This is a YA thriller about basically a girl who wants to get a fresh start at a new school, and this new school has what's called the Mary Shelley Club, where basically the members of this club give out dares and like pranks to scare the other members, and like they want to come up with the scariest prank of all. And as you can imagine, it kind of escalates and gets to the point where it's very dangerous. So I'm just really excited to read this. I've heard such great things about this, especially recently. The cover is really beautiful as well. It's just a really attractive cover. I just love when like lettering is painted on like that. I think it looks cool. So yeah, I'm excited to read this and give another YA thriller a try. But one that I have a feeling might also fit for this prompt, let me know if you've read it, if I'm right or wrong, is The Honeys by Ryan LaSala, which I'm very excited about because it was one of my most anticipated reads. It is about this gender fluid main character named Mars. So Mars has always been the lesser twin, but when his twin Caroline dies under horrific circumstances, he is propelled to learn all he can about his once inseparable sister. Mars's gender fluidity means he's often excluded from the traditions and expectations of his politically connected family. This includes attendance at the prestigious Aspen Conservancy Summer Academy, where his sister poured so much of her time. But with his grief still fresh, he insists on attending in her place. What Mars finds is a bucolic fairy tale not meant for him. Folksy charm and sun-drenched festivities camouflage old-fashioned gender roles and a toxic preparatory rigor. Yeah, this gives me Midsummer vibes a little bit, some cult vibes. Okay, good. Mars seeks out his sister's old friends, a group of girls dubbed the Honeys, which is also giving me Heather vibes. Very nice. They are beautiful and terrifying, and Mars is certain they're connected to Caroline's death. Yeah, so I don't know if this is gonna have multiple survivors or not. If it does, I'd really like to read this. I really like to read this regardless anyway, because I was anticipating it so highly, so we shall see. Okay, so lastly, I'm saving this prompt because it kind of segues into the next group of books I'm going to talk about. It is Having Fire Language, which I'm interpreting very liberally in the title or on the cover. So first, I have two arcs First is Heart of a Sun Warrior, which is the sequel, and I think it's a duology, so it's the final installment of The Celestial Kingdom by Su Lin Tan, the sequel to The Daughter of the Moon Goddess, I believe it's called. Yeah, so if you haven't read that, you know, I don't want to give anything away, but basically it's the sequel to that, and I really enjoyed that story, all about Chinese mythology, and it was just a beautifully written story. So I do have an arc of this, and it comes out in early November, so I really do want to get to it. And since it has sun in the title, you know what? The sun is made of fire, so I feel like it counts. But we also have another option, which is The Stars Undying. Again, stars, fire, maybe it counts, I don't know, by Emery Robin, which is arguably my most anticipated book of the whole entire year. And yes, I have an arc of it on NetGalley, and I am so excited about that. So this is a sci-fi space opera. I don't want to go too long-winded about it, but it's compared to Anne Leckie's Ancillary Justice and Arcady Martine's Memory Called Empire, which are both my favorite books of all time. So I'm so excited about this. This is a sci-fi retelling of the lives and loves of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar in space. How much better can you possibly get? This is right up my alley. I'm already anticipating it's going to be a 5-star. I'm really hoping that it's going to be one of my favorite top 10 books of the whole entire year. So I can't believe I actually got approved for an arc of this. It comes out November 8th. So regardless of whether it fits this, which I think it does, I am going to be reading it this month because I just can't wait for this. Okay, so that's the end of my Gothtober TBR, but wait, don't go. I have 2 more books to talk about that are not part of Gothtober. They're just books I need to read. So another arc, we have Africa Risen, which is a short story anthology by Black authors, all about sci-fi, fantasy, speculative fiction. So I'm very, very excited about this. I actually bought it from my library because I'm so excited about it. So I do have an arc of it, and this comes out also on November 8th, very busy day. So yeah, I'm very excited. I love sci-fi anthologies. I think it's a great way to discover new sci-fi authors just from like a little taste test without having to go and read a whole new sci-fi novel. I think it's a great way, and especially because it's all Black authors, this is going to be wonderful. And look at this cover. I mean, gorgeous. And then last but not least, we have my book club that I do with Noelle and Britt, the Found in Translation book club. We are reading When I Sing, Mountains Dance by Irene Solà, which is translated from the Catalan. And this is about Dominic, who lives in a village high in the Pyrenees Mountains, who wanders across a ridge, fancying himself more a poet than a farmer. He gathers black chanterelle mushrooms, attends to a troubled cow, and then storm clouds swell, full of electrifying power. Reckless, gleeful, they release their bolts of lightning, one of which strikes Dominic. He dies. The ghosts of 17th century witches gather around him, taking up the chanterelles he'd harvested before going on their merry ways. So begins this novel. That is as much about the mountains and the mushrooms as it is about the human dramas that unfold in their midst. Wow, that synopsis just like blows me away every time I read it. Like, that's just so shocking. Just like, yeah, the main character going around his merry way, boom, he's struck by lightning and he dies. And then these ghosts of witches like take his stuff, like, okay. It just sounds fascinating. It's super short too, which is a blessing because I have a lot to read this month. I don't know why I'm doing that to myself, but yeah, this sounds amazing. If you'd like to read it with us, definitely join our book club. The Discord will be linked down below, and we'll have a live show discussing this on one of our channels as well. So I'm very, very excited to be reading this with all of you. All right, and that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching my October TBR. I'm so excited to participate in Gothtober with you all and have some wonderfully Halloween-y vibes. Enjoy your Halloween and have a wonderful month. Definitely let me know what you're planning on reading down below in the comments. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!